Whispers of Lysandra Chapter 1. The forgotten town. The sun was setting as the Thompson family's car pulled into the driveway of their new home in Lysandra. The town, nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, had an air of forgotten time about it. The houses, though well-maintained, bore the architectural designs of decades past, and the streets were devoid of the usual hustle and bustle one might expect in the late afternoon. Alex Thompson, a teenager with a mop of curly brown hair and inquisitive hazel eyes, stepped out of the car and looked around. The silence was almost palpable, broken only by the distant chirping of crickets and the soft rustling of leaves. He felt a shiver run down his spine, an eerie vibe that he couldn't quite place. His younger sister, Lucy, tugged at his sleeve. "This place feels weird, Alex," she whispered, her blue eyes wide with a mix of excitement and apprehension. Alex nodded, trying to shake off the feeling. "It's just new, loose. We'll get used to it." As they began unloading their belongings, a few locals passed by, offering polite nods but not stopping to introduce themselves. Alex noticed that their gazes often darted towards the dense forest that bordered the town, a look of unease evident in their eyes. The next day, while exploring the town, Alex bumped into a boy around his age. With jet black hair and a nervous demeanor, the boy introduced himself as Jamie. The two struck up a conversation, and Alex learned that Jamie's family had lived in Lysandra for generations. "Most folks here keep to themselves," Jamie explained, his voice barely above a whisper. "Especially after, well, you know." Alex frowned. "After what?" Jamie hesitated, glancing towards the forest. "People don't like talking about it. But there's something about that forest. My advice? Stay away." Before Alex could press further, Jamie quickly excused himself and hurried away, leaving Alex with more questions than answers. That night, as Alex lay in bed, the mysterious whispers began. Soft at first, they seemed to float in from the open window, growing louder and more insistent. They were unintelligible, a cacophony of voices that seemed to beckon him. Curiosity piqued, Alex got up and moved to the window. The moonlight bathed Lysandra in a silvery glow, but the forest remained shrouded in darkness. The whispers seemed to emanate from its depths, drawing him in. He remembered Jamie's warning but felt an inexplicable urge to uncover the secrets of Lysandra and the enigmatic forest that loomed over it. Little did he know that this decision would set him on a path of discovery, danger, and the unknown. As dawn broke, the whispers faded, leaving Alex with a sense of foreboding. The forgotten town of Lysandra, with its silent streets and guarded secrets, was about to reveal its mysteries, and Alex was at the very heart of it. Chapter 2. The old legend. The next morning, Alex found himself at the town's only cafe, waiting for Jamie. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air, but the atmosphere was tense. The few patrons present whispered among themselves, occasionally glancing at Alex with a mix of curiosity and caution. Jamie arrived, looking more anxious than the day before. He slid into the booth across from Alex and took a deep breath. "I shouldn't be telling you this," he began, his voice shaky. "But I feel like you deserve to know." Alex leaned forward, his interest piqued. "Know what?" "The legend," Jamie whispered, glancing around to ensure no one was eavesdropping. "The legend of the Lysandra forest." Alex's eyes widened. "Go on." Jamie hesitated for a moment, then began. "Centuries ago, Lysandra was a thriving town. But everything changed when people started disappearing. It always happened the same way. They'd hear whispers, voices of loved ones calling them into the forest. And once they entered, they never returned. Alex felt a chill run down his spine, remembering the whispers from the previous night. What's in the forest? Jamie gulped. The legend speaks of a creature, neither human nor animal. It's said to have the power to mimic any voice, luring its victims deeper into the forest until they're lost forever. Alex's mind raced. But why? Why does it do that? No one knows, Jamie replied, his voice barely audible. Some say it's a guardian, protecting a hidden treasure. Others believe it's a malevolent spirit, feeding off the souls of the lost. But one thing's for sure. No one who's entered the forest has ever come back. Alex's adventurous spirit was ignited. I want to see it, he declared, determination evident in his voice. Jamie's eyes widened in horror. Are you insane? It's a death wish. I need to know, Alex insisted. I need to know what's in that forest, what happened to those people, and what those whispers mean. Jamie looked torn. On one hand, he wanted to protect his new friend from the dangers of the forest. On the other, he understood Alex's need for answers. After what felt like an eternity, he finally spoke. Okay, but on one condition. I guide you. I know the forest better than anyone, and if there's even a slight chance of getting out alive, it's with me. Alex nodded, grateful for Jamie's support. Deal. The two boys shook hands, sealing their pact. Unbeknownst to them, a pair of eyes watched them from a distance, eyes that had seen the horrors of the Lysandra forest and lived to tell the tale. The journey they were about to embark on would test their courage, their friendship, and their very will to survive. Chapter 3. The mimicked voices. The morning sun cast a golden hue over Lysandra as Alex and Jamie stood at the edge of the forest. The dense canopy of trees seemed to swallow the light, casting long, eerie shadows on the ground. The air was thick with tension and anticipation. Taking a deep breath, Alex took the first step, with Jamie close behind. The forest was eerily silent, save for the occasional rustling of leaves and distant bird calls. As they ventured deeper, the world outside seemed to fade away, replaced by a maze of trees and underbrush. It wasn't long before the whispers began. At first, they were faint, almost indistinguishable from the wind. But as they continued, the voices grew louder and more distinct. Alex froze in his tracks as he heard a familiar voice calling out to him. Alex. Come to me, my son. It was his mother's voice, filled with warmth and love. But Alex knew she was back at their new home, unpacking and settling in. He turned to Jamie, who had a similar look of shock on his face. Did you hear that? Alex whispered. Jamie nodded, his face pale. It's my sister, Lily. She disappeared in this forest years ago. But that can't be her. It just can't. The two boys exchanged a worried glance, realizing that the legends were true. The creature was trying to lure them deeper into the forest with the voices of their loved ones. Determined not to fall for its tricks, they pressed on, using a compass to ensure they stayed on course. But the forest seemed to have a mind of its own, with paths twisting and turning in every direction. After what felt like hours, they stumbled upon a clearing. In the center stood an old, abandoned house, its windows shattered and roof caved in. Nature had begun to reclaim it, with vines and moss covering its once grand facade. Curiosity getting the better of him, Alex approached the house, with Jamie reluctantly following. The front door hung ajar, revealing a dark, dusty interior. As they stepped inside, the whispers grew louder, echoing through the empty halls. The house seemed to be stuck in time, with old furniture covered in dust and family portraits hanging on the walls. But what caught Alex's attention was a room at the end of the hallway. The door was slightly open, and a soft light emanated from within. Drawn to it, Alex pushed the door open, revealing a room filled with candles. In the center stood a large mirror, its surface shimmering with an otherworldly glow. As he approached, the whispers grew deafening, and he saw the reflection of his mother, her face filled with sadness. "Alex, help me," she pleaded. Beside him, Jamie saw the reflection of his sister, her eyes filled with tears. "Jamie, it's been so long. Please, save me." The boys were paralyzed with fear and confusion. They knew these were just illusions, but the pain and longing in their loved one's eyes felt all too real. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the house, snapping them out of their trance. The mirror shattered into a million pieces, and the whispers faded away, replaced by an oppressive silence. Shaken, Alex and Jamie quickly exited the house, vowing never to return. But the forest had other plans, and as they ventured deeper, they realized that their ordeal was far from over. Chapter 4. The House of Memories. The old house, standing defiantly amidst the encroaching forest, seemed to pulse with a life of its own. The walls, though worn and peeling, held memories of times long past. As Alex and Jamie ventured further into its depths, they were met with an eerie stillness, punctuated only by their own echoing footsteps. The main hallway was lined with framed photographs, each capturing a frozen moment in time. As they examined them, a chilling realization dawned on Jamie. "These are all missing people," he whispered, his voice trembling. "People who've disappeared in this forest." Alex's heart raced as he scanned the faces, each one a testament to the forest's dark allure. But one photo, in particular, caught his eye. It was a younger version of his mother, her eyes filled with hope and innocence. The date on the photo was from over 2 decades ago, long before he was born. "This can't be," he murmured, his mind racing. "Why is she here?" Jamie, meanwhile, had discovered an old leather-bound diary on a dusty table. The pages were yellowed with age, and the ink had faded in places. But the entries were clear enough to read. "It's a record," Jamie said, his voice barely audible. "A record of all the creature's victims." The diary detailed the harrowing accounts of those who had been lured into the forest by the creature's mimicked voices. Some entries spoke of the overwhelming desire to find lost loved ones, while others told of the paralyzing fear that gripped them as they realized the truth. As Jamie read aloud, a chilling entry caught their attention. "The creature is not the true danger. It's but a guardian, a protector of the forest's secrets. The real threat lies within the heart of Lysandra, where memories are both a blessing and a curse." Before they could ponder the diary's cryptic words, a creaking sound echoed through the house. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate footsteps coming from the floor above. The boys exchanged a panicked glance, their earlier discoveries momentarily forgotten. As they cautiously made their way to the staircase, a movement caught Alex's eye. He turned to see a shadowy figure watching them from a broken window. Its features were obscured, but its intent was clear. It was watching, waiting. Frozen in place, Alex and Jamie could only stare as the figure slowly retreated from the window, disappearing into the forest's dense foliage. The footsteps upstairs ceased, replaced by an oppressive silence that weighed heavily on their hearts. The house, with its haunting photographs and chilling diary entries, had revealed some of Lysandra's darkest secrets. But the shadowy figure and the unseen presence upstairs hinted at even deeper mysteries yet to be uncovered. Determined to find answers, Alex and Jamie decided to venture further into the forest, armed with the knowledge they had gained. But as they left the House of Memories, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, that every step they took was leading them deeper into a web of deception and danger. Chapter 5. The first twist, the dense canopy of the forest seemed to close in around Alex and Jamie as they cautiously followed the path the shadowy figure had taken. Every rustle of leaves, every distant bird call, heightened their sense of unease. But they were determined to uncover the mysteries that Lysandra held. As they rounded a bend, they came upon a small clearing. In the center stood Mrs. Gray, the town elder known for her wisdom and her reclusive nature. Her silver hair flowed down her back, and her piercing blue eyes held a depth of knowledge that seemed almost otherworldly. "Mrs. Gray?" Jamie exclaimed, surprise evident in his voice. She turned to face them, her gaze steady. "Ah, Jamie, Alex," she said, her voice soft yet commanding. "I've been expecting you." Alex took a step forward, his curiosity piqued. "You were the one watching us in the house?" Mrs. Gray nodded. "I needed to see if you were ready to learn the truth." Jamie frowned, confusion clouding his features. "The truth about what?" Mrs. Gray sighed, her gaze drifting towards the forest. "The creature you fear, the one that mimics voices, is not the true danger. It is a guardian, a protector of Lysandra's secrets." Alex's mind raced, trying to process her words. "But the diary, the missing people." Mrs. Gray held up a hand, silencing him. "The creature protects those who enter the forest from the real threat, the town itself. Lysandra feeds on memories, especially those of newcomers. It's how it sustains itself, how it remains trapped in a bygone era." Jamie's eyes widened in realization. The whispers, the voices, they're the town's way of luring people in. Mrs. Gray nodded. "Precisely. And once it has you, it never lets go." A heavy silence settled over the clearing as Alex and Jamie grappled with the implications of her words. But another revelation was about to shake their world even further. Mrs. Gray turned to Jamie, her eyes filled with a mix of sadness and longing. "There's something else you need to know, Jamie. Something I've kept hidden for far too long." Jamie looked at her, a sense of dread building in his chest. "What is it?" Mrs. Gray took a deep breath, her voice barely above a whisper. "I am your sister, Lily." Jamie staggered back, disbelief evident in his eyes. "That's impossible. Lily disappeared in the forest years ago." Mrs. Gray nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. "I did. But I was saved by the creature, protected from the town's grasp. I've been living on the outskirts of Lysandra, watching over it, trying to protect others from its clutches." The weight of the revelation hung heavily in the air. Jamie's long-lost sister, believed to be a victim of the forest's malevolent force, was alive and had been watching over him all these years. As the truth sank in, Alex and Jamie realized that their quest for answers had only just begun. With Mrs. Gray, or rather, Lily, by their side, they were determined to uncover the full extent of Lysandra's dark secrets and put an end to its reign of terror once and for all. Chapter 6. The town's secret. The trio sat in the clearing, the weight of the revelations pressing down on them. The soft chirping of crickets and the distant hoot of an owl were the only sounds that punctuated the heavy silence. Lily, formerly known as Mrs. Gray, took a deep breath. Lysandra wasn't always like this, she began, her voice filled with a mix of nostalgia and sorrow. Centuries ago, it was a thriving town, known far and wide for its prosperity and harmony. Jamie leaned forward, hanging on to every word. What happened? Lily's gaze grew distant. A curse. A powerful sorcerer, spurned by a lover from this town, cast a spell on Lysandra. He condemned it to remain trapped in time, its essence slowly fading away. To sustain itself, the town began feeding on the memories of its inhabitants. Alex frowned. But why memories? Lily sighed. Memories are powerful. They hold emotions, experiences, and life itself. By consuming them, Lysandra could maintain its existence, even if it meant robbing its people of their past. Jamie's eyes widened in realization. That's why the town lures newcomers. For fresh memories. Lily nodded. Exactly. And that's where the creature comes in. Over time, some of the town's elders realized the horror of what was happening. They summoned a guardian to protect outsiders from Lysandra's grasp. The creature, with its ability to mimic voices, was meant to deter people from entering the forest and getting too close to the town's core. Alex's heart raced as he thought of his family. My parents, my sister, they're in danger. Lily looked at him, her eyes filled with sympathy. Yes. The longer they stay in Lysandra, the more their memories will be consumed. Determination flared in Jamie's eyes. We need to confront the town council. They've been overseeing this for centuries. They must know how to break the curse. Lily hesitated. It won't be easy. The council is made up of the oldest families in Lysandra. They've benefited the most from the curse, living agelessly as they feed off the memories of others. Alex stood up, his resolve unwavering. We have to try. For my family, for all the lost souls of Lysandra. The trio made their way back to the town, the looming buildings casting long shadows in the moonlight. As they approached the town hall, a grand structure that stood at the heart of Lysandra, they could feel the weight of centuries of memories pressing down on them. The large oak doors of the hall creaked open, revealing the town council. They sat in a semicircle, their ageless faces betraying no emotion. At the center sat Mayor Hawthorne, a tall man with sharp features and piercing gray eyes. Ah, the prodigal daughter returns, he said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. And she's brought friends. Lily stepped forward, her voice steady. We know the truth, Hawthorne. The curse, the memories, all of it. It's time to end this. Mayor Hawthorne chuckled, a cold, humorless sound. And why would we do that? We've thrived for centuries, all thanks to the curse. Alex took a step forward, anger evident in his voice. At what cost? How many lives have you ruined? How many memories have you stolen? The council members exchanged glances, their faces remaining impassive. But there was a hint of unease in their eyes. The confrontation had begun, and the fate of Lysandra hung in the balance. Chapter 7. The council's deception. The grand hall of the town council echoed with Mayor Hawthorne's cold laughter. The ornate chandeliers overhead cast a dim light, making the ageless faces of the council members appear even more ghostly. "Young ones," Mayor Hawthorne began, his voice dripping with condescension, "you come here with tales and accusations, but Lysandra has thrived for centuries. Why would we jeopardize that?" Lily, her voice filled with frustration, responded, "Because it's wrong. You're stealing lives, consuming memories. It has to stop." The mayor leaned forward, his gray eyes locking onto Jamie's. "And who, might I ask, has been spreading these tales? These legends?" Jamie swallowed hard but met the mayor's gaze defiantly. "I have. The people deserve to know the truth." A murmur ran through the council members. Whispers filled the hall, growing in volume until Mayor Hawthorne raised his hand for silence. "Then you, young man, shall bear the consequences of spreading falsehoods." Before Jamie could react, 2 guards grabbed him, their grip iron tight. Alex lunged forward, but another pair of guards blocked his path. The council hall, which moments ago had seemed merely grand and imposing, now felt like a trap. "Take him to the chambers," Mayor Hawthorne ordered, his voice cold and unyielding. As Jamie was dragged away, Alex caught his eye. A silent promise passed between them. Alex would not leave his friend to this fate. Using the commotion as a distraction, Alex managed to slip away, ducking behind a heavy curtain and finding a hidden door. He made his way through a series of dimly lit corridors, the walls lined with portraits of past council members, their eyes seeming to follow him. In a secluded room, Alex stumbled upon a shocking sight. Rows of glass containers, each filled with a swirling mist. As he approached, he realized that the mist was made up of memories, each container labeled with a name. The sheer number of containers was staggering, a testament to the countless souls the council had preyed upon. Hidden among the shelves, Alex found ancient texts detailing the council's dark pact. The curse had indeed granted them agelessness, but at a terrible cost. They needed to consume fresh memories regularly to maintain their eternal youth. And the more significant the memory, the more powerful its effect. A chilling realization dawned on Alex. Jamie, with his knowledge of the town's legends and his deep connection to Lysandra, would be a prized catch for the council. His memories would be a feast. Determined to save his friend, Alex began formulating a plan. He knew he couldn't confront the council head-on. He needed allies, and he needed to act fast. As he made his way back through the corridors, he overheard guards discussing Jamie's whereabouts. He was being held in the town's ancient tower, a place rumored to be inescapable. But Alex was undeterred. With the knowledge he had gained and the resolve to save his friend, he was ready to face the council's deception and the dark secrets of Lysandra. The battle for Jamie's memories and the very soul of the town had begun. Chapter 8. The creature's alliance. The forest was still, the only sound being the soft crunch of leaves under Alex's feet as he ventured deeper into its heart. He knew that seeking out the creature was a gamble, but he was running out of options. The towering trees seemed to close in around him, their shadows dancing in the moonlight. Suddenly, a familiar voice echoed through the trees. "Alex." Why have you come? He spun around, trying to locate the source. I need your help, he called out, hoping the creature would understand. The voice shifted, becoming a chorus of whispers, all the voices the creature had ever mimicked. The council. They are dangerous, it said, the voices blending into one. I know, Alex replied, his voice filled with determination. They have Jamie. They plan to make him one of them. A soft sigh echoed through the forest. The council's greed knows no bounds. They have forgotten their purpose, forgotten the balance. Alex took a deep breath. Will you help me? Together, we can save Jamie and restore balance to Lysandra. The whispers grew louder, a cacophony of voices debating, arguing, considering. Then, slowly, they faded, leaving only one voice. Very well, it said, a note of resolve evident. We shall form an alliance. Relief washed over Alex. Thank you, he whispered. The creature materialized before him, its form constantly shifting, a blend of shadows and light. To aid you in your quest, it said, extending a tendril towards Alex, take this. Hanging from the tendril was a delicate amulet, its centerpiece a shimmering crystal that pulsed with an otherworldly light. This amulet, the creature explained, contains the essence of the forest. It will protect you from the council's influence and give you the strength to resist their power. Alex took the amulet, feeling its cool weight in his hand. As he put it around his neck, a warmth spread through him, filling him with renewed energy and purpose. The council will not give up Jamie easily, the creature warned. But with the amulet's power and our combined strength, we stand a chance. Alex nodded, determination burning in his eyes. Then let's get him back. The creature led the way, guiding Alex through the forest's hidden paths, moving with a grace and speed that belied its size. As they neared the town, the creature paused, its form shifting uneasily. Remember, it whispered, its voice filled with urgency, the council's power is strong, but the amulet will protect you. Trust in it, and trust in our alliance. With a final nod, Alex stepped out of the forest and into the heart of Lysandra, ready to face the council and save Jamie. The battle for the town's soul was about to begin. Chapter 9. The rescue. The council's lair was located beneath the town hall, a sprawling underground maze of stone corridors and dimly lit chambers. The air was thick with the scent of old books and the faintest hint of decay. As Alex descended the stone steps, the amulet around his neck pulsed with a soft glow, its light casting eerie shadows on the walls. Using the amulet as a guide, Alex navigated the labyrinthine passages, its power shielding him from the council's surveillance spells. Every so often, he would feel a tug at his memories, a gentle pull that grew stronger the deeper he went. But each time, the amulet's glow would intensify, protecting him from the council's insidious influence. After what felt like hours, Alex finally reached the heart of the lair. In a large chamber, illuminated by flickering torches, he found Jamie. Bound to a stone altar, Jamie looked weak and disoriented, his eyes glazed over. Jamie! Alex whispered, rushing to his side. Using the amulet, he severed the magical bonds holding Jamie, helping him to his feet. Jamie blinked, recognition slowly dawning in his eyes. Alex? Is that really you? Alex nodded, pulling Jamie into a tight embrace. It's me. We need to get out of here. But their reunion was short-lived. A cold, mocking applause echoed through the chamber as the council members emerged from the shadows. Mayor Hawthorne stepped forward, his eyes fixed on the amulet. "Ah, the prodigal son's return," he sneered. "Did you really think you could defy us?" Alex stepped protectively in front of Jamie, the amulet glowing brightly. "We're leaving, Hawthorne. You can't stop us." The mayor chuckled, his gaze never leaving the amulet. "That trinket may protect you, but it won't save you." With a wave of his hand, the council members closed in, their eyes glowing with malevolent intent. Alex and Jamie stood back to back, ready to fight, but the odds were overwhelmingly against them. Just as all hope seemed lost, a deafening roar echoed through the chamber. The walls trembled as the creature burst forth, its form shifting and changing, casting the room into chaos. Council members were thrown aside, their spells rendered useless against the creature's might. In the midst of the confusion, Alex and Jamie made their escape, the creature clearing a path for them. As they reached the entrance of the lair, the creature let out a final, triumphant roar, causing the underground chambers to collapse in on themselves. Emerging into the cool night air, Alex and Jamie paused to catch their breath. The town of Lysandra lay before them, its streets empty and silent. "We did it," Jamie whispered, disbelief evident in his voice. Alex nodded, looking down at the amulet. "With a little help." The creature, now back in the forest's depths, had once again fulfilled its role as protector. But the battle for Lysandra's soul was far from over. The council may have been defeated, but the curse still lingered, its dark influence threatening to consume the town once more. Determined to break the curse and free Lysandra from its grasp, Alex and Jamie set out on their next adventure, the amulet's glow lighting their way. Chapter 10. The second twist. The night was still, the only sound being the distant rustling of leaves. Alex and Jamie, having narrowly escaped the council's lair, made their way through the streets of Lysandra, the town bathed in the soft glow of the moonlight. The amulet around Alex's neck pulsed gently, its rhythm comforting in the face of the night's events. Suddenly, a familiar voice echoed through the air, sending a chill down Alex's spine. "You cannot escape us, Alex." It was Mayor Hawthorne's voice, but it seemed to be coming from all directions. Alex spun around, trying to locate the source, but there was no one in sight. Another voice, this one belonging to a council member, joined in. "The amulet won't protect you forever." Jamie gripped Alex's arm, his eyes wide with fear. "It's the creature," he whispered. "It's mimicking their voices." Confusion clouded Alex's mind. Why would the creature, their ally, suddenly turn against them? He clutched the amulet, hoping it would provide some clarity, but its glow had dimmed. As the voices grew louder, a realization dawned on Alex. "Jamie," he said, his voice filled with suspicion, "how did you know it was the creature?" Jamie hesitated, avoiding Alex's gaze. I just assumed." But Alex wasn't convinced. "The creature saved us, Jamie. Why would it suddenly turn against us?" Jamie's face contorted with a mix of anger and sadness. "Because I asked it to," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. Alex staggered back, disbelief evident in his eyes. "What? Why?" Jamie looked up, tears glistening in his eyes. "The council. They got to me, Alex. They promised me my memories back, the ones they stole from me, in exchange for yours." A cold dread settled in Alex's heart. "You betrayed me," he whispered, the weight of the revelation pressing down on him. Jamie nodded, tears streaming down his face. "I'm so sorry, Alex." Before Alex could react, Jamie lunged at him, his fingers reaching for the amulet. But before he could touch it, the creature burst forth from the shadows, its form shifting and changing as it placed itself between Alex and Jamie. The creature let out a deafening roar, its voice echoing with the pain of betrayal. Jamie, realizing the creature was protecting Alex, turned his attention to it, his eyes glowing with malevolent intent. As the two clashed, Alex could only watch in horror, torn between his loyalty to Jamie and the creature's sacrifice. The battle raged on, the creature using all its strength to protect Alex from Jamie's corrupted power. But Jamie, fueled by the Council's dark influence, proved to be a formidable opponent. With a final, desperate lunge, he managed to pierce the creature's heart, causing it to let out a final, anguished cry before collapsing to the ground. Alex rushed to the creature's side, cradling its head in his lap. "Thank you," he whispered, tears streaming down his face. The creature, its form slowly fading, looked up at Alex, its eyes filled with sadness and regret. "Protect Lysandra," it whispered, its voice barely audible. "Break the curse." With a final sigh, the creature's form dissolved into the night, leaving Alex alone with his grief and the weight of his mission. Jamie, realizing the gravity of his actions, fled into the night, leaving Alex to pick up the pieces and continue the fight to save Lysandra. The battle for the town's soul had taken a tragic turn, but Alex was determined to see it through to the end. Chapter 11. The town's redemption. The morning sun cast a pale light over Lysandra, but the town felt different. Without the creature's protective presence, an oppressive atmosphere hung in the air. Buildings that once stood tall and proud now appeared dilapidated, their walls crumbling and roofs caving in. The once vibrant streets were now filled with an eerie silence, interrupted only by the occasional whisper of the wind. Alex, his heart heavy with the loss of the creature and Jamie's betrayal, made his way to the town square. As he walked, he noticed the townspeople gathering, their faces etched with concern and fear. The decay was evident, and they all felt it. Standing atop the town's fountain, Alex addressed the crowd. "Lysandra is dying," he began, his voice filled with urgency. "The creature that protected us is gone, and the council's curse is consuming our town." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. They had all felt the change, the slow decay that threatened to engulf Lysandra. "But we can fight back," Alex continued, determination evident in his voice. "Together, we can break the curse and save our town." Inspired by Alex's words, the townspeople rallied behind him. Armed with the knowledge of the council's dark deeds and the power of the amulet, they marched to the town hall, ready to confront the council and demand an end to the curse. The council members, taken aback by the town's united front, tried to resist, but the weight of their sins bore down on them. One by one, they admitted their guilt, their ageless faces contorted with shame and regret. With the amulet's power and the council's knowledge, Alex led a ritual to break the curse. The townspeople, standing in a circle around the town hall, chanted ancient incantations, their voices rising in a harmonious crescendo. The amulet glowed brightly, its light piercing the darkness and enveloping Lysandra. As the ritual reached its climax, a wave of energy swept through the town. The stolen memories, trapped for centuries, were released, flowing back to their rightful owners. The townspeople, overwhelmed by the flood of emotions and experiences, wept tears of joy and relief. But the curse's end came with a price. Lysandra, free from its shackles, began to age rapidly. Buildings that had stood for centuries crumbled to dust, and the streets, once frozen in time, showed the wear and tear of the ages. Yet, amidst the decay, there was a sense of peace. The townspeople, their memories restored, embraced the passage of time, grateful for the chance to live their lives free from the council's influence. In the midst of the celebrations, Jamie emerged from the shadows, his face gaunt and aged. The corruption that had consumed him was gone, but the weight of his actions and the rapid aging had taken their toll. Alex, seeing his friend's frail form, rushed to his side. "Jamie," he whispered, tears streaming down his face. Jamie looked up, his eyes filled with regret. "I'm so sorry, Alex," he rasped, his voice weak. Alex pulled him into a tight embrace, the pain of the past forgotten in the face of their renewed friendship. "It's okay," he whispered. "We're together now." Lysandra, its curse broken and its soul redeemed, began a new chapter. The townspeople, united in their resolve, worked together to rebuild their home, their spirits buoyed by the hope of a brighter future. The battle for Lysandra's soul was over, and a new dawn had begun. Chapter 12. The farewell. The sun cast a golden hue over Lysandra, its rays reflecting off the newly rebuilt structures. The town, once trapped in time, now bore the marks of age and history. The streets, once bustling with activity, were quieter, with only the occasional laughter of children playing or the distant chatter of townsfolk. Alex stood outside his family's home, the weight of the decision pressing down on him. The events of the past few weeks had taken their toll, and his family had decided it was time to leave Lysandra. The town, with its rich history and haunting memories, was too much for them to bear. As he packed their belongings, Alex's thoughts drifted to Jamie. The corruption of the council had been reversed, but the rapid aging remained. Jamie, once a young and vibrant soul, was now an old man, his face lined with wrinkles and his hair turned silver. Despite his age, Jamie had taken on a new role as the town's guardian. With the council gone and the creature's sacrifice, Lysandra needed someone to watch over it, to ensure its history was preserved and its future secured. The two friends met at the town square, the place where their adventure had begun. Jamie, leaning on a cane, looked up at Alex, his eyes filled with a mix of sadness and pride. "I'll miss you," Jamie rasped, his voice weak but filled with emotion. Alex pulled him into a tight embrace, tears streaming down both their faces. "I'll never forget you, Jamie. You'll always be a part of me." Jamie smiled, pulling away and looking up at the sky. "Lysandra may have taken our memories, but it also gave us something precious. Friendship." Alex nodded, wiping away his tears. "I'll cherish our memories, always." As they parted ways, Jamie handed Alex a small box. Inside was the amulet, its crystal still glowing with a soft light. "Keep this," Jamie whispered, "as a reminder of our journey." Alex clutched the amulet, feeling its warmth against his skin. "Thank you," he whispered back, his voice choked with emotion. As Alex and his family left Lysandra, they looked back one last time, the town's silhouette fading in the distance. The pain of the past was still fresh, but they also carried with them the hope of a brighter future. Lysandra, once a cursed town, became a legend. Stories of its history, its battles, and its redemption spread far and wide. Tourists flocked to the town, eager to catch a glimpse of its magic. But no one stayed for long, the memories of the past too powerful to bear. And so, Lysandra remained, a testament to the power of friendship, sacrifice, and redemption. A town that had once been trapped in time, now free to write its own future. Chapter 13. The final whisper. The road to Lysandra was overgrown, nature having reclaimed much of the path that once led to the legendary town. Alex, now a middle-aged man with streaks of gray in his hair, drove slowly, the memories of his youth flooding back with every turn. As he entered the town, he was taken aback by the transformation. Lysandra was thriving, its streets bustling with activity. Children played in the squares, vendors hawked their wares, and laughter echoed through the air. The town, once shrouded in mystery and darkness, now radiated life and joy. Yet, as Alex walked the familiar streets, he couldn't shake off the feeling of nostalgia. The townspeople greeted him with friendly smiles, but there was no recognition in their eyes. It was as if the town had collectively forgotten its tumultuous past, the memories buried deep beneath the sands of time. Drawn by an inexplicable force, Alex made his way to the town's cemetery. Amidst the neatly arranged gravestones, one stood out. A simple stone marker with the name, Jamie, etched on it. Beneath the name was an inscription, Guardian of Lysandra. Alex knelt by the grave, placing a bouquet of wildflowers on it. "I haven't forgotten," he whispered, his voice choked with emotion. As he sat in silent contemplation, a gentle breeze rustled the leaves, and Alex heard a familiar sound. Whispers, soft and distant, floated on the wind. They were comforting, reminiscent of the creature's mimicked voices. He stood up, looking around, trying to locate the source. But there was no one in sight. The whispers grew louder, a chorus of voices blending into one. "Thank you," they seemed to say, their tone filled with gratitude and love. A shiver ran down Alex's spine. Could it be? Was the creature still alive, watching over Lysandra from the shadows? As he left the cemetery, the whispers faded, but the feeling of being watched remained. Alex felt a mix of comfort and unease, the past and the present colliding in a dance of memories and emotions. He spent the day wandering the town, revisiting old haunts and reminiscing about his youth. The townspeople, oblivious to the town's dark history, went about their lives, their laughter and joy a stark contrast to the pain and sorrow of the past. As the sun set, casting a golden hue over Lysandra, Alex made his way to the town's edge. He paused, looking back one last time, the town's silhouette bathed in the soft glow of twilight. The whispers returned, this time more pronounced, their message clear. "Remember," they said, their voices filled with urgency. "Remember and never forget." With a heavy heart, Alex drove away, leaving Lysandra and its secrets behind. But the whispers remained, a constant reminder of the town's past and the creature's eternal presence. And so, Lysandra's legend lived on, a tale of friendship, sacrifice, and redemption. A town that had once been trapped in time, now free to write its own future, but forever haunted by the whispers of its past. If you have enjoyed our Borrasca-style, terrifying creepypasta and no-sleep story, please visit us at Paranormal Untold Stories. Come to listen to more of our scary stories collection. Paranormal Untold Stories encourages you to connect us if you have your own untold story that you would like our professional team to put online as a scary story.